The empire has struck back, this time in Florida. Now, as you know, last night there were two very important primaries that happened in Florida. The first one was former DNC chair and establishment darling, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, versus progressive law professor and anti-corruption activist Tim Canova, both Democrats, both running in a primary against each other. Now, they faced off in Florida's 23rd congressional district. Now, unfortunately, in this race for progressives, there was no victory. Wasserman Schultz defeated Tim Canova by around 13 points with, last I checked, 100% of the precincts reporting. So they're all in. It's a small precinct. Voting was done rather quickly. Now, Canova went into it with a 10-point deficit. So it wasn't looking good. Okay. Now, in the end, she had about 6,700 more votes. Now, look, to be honest, it's actually kind of amazing that it wasn't larger, that he did as well as he did. Now, why do I say that? Because Debbie Wasserman Schultz had some real heavyweights to come and campaign with her. She had Barack Obama, she had Hillary Clinton, and Joe Biden. So, look, man, the establishment, they brought out the big guns. They were all there. And yet, he still managed to get about 43% of the votes, despite the entire Democratic establishment being out there and campaigning for his opponent. That's amazing. Remember, Barack Obama is super popular right now. He's got an incredibly high approval rating. And Joe Biden, of course, a lot of people like Joe Biden. Hillary Clinton, not so much. You know what I'm saying? But look, to go up against that entire establishment and get still almost half of all the votes, not bad. Not bad. Still, this race had been considered a long shot. Now, in his concession speech, Canova told supporters that, look, he saw a victory for the cause of reclaiming democracy from the corporate oligarchy. He said, look at how far we've come. Even losing, we've still come so far. Now, on the topic of losing, he also said, look, life knocks us on our ass a lot of times. Everyone gets knocked in their butt a lot of times. The test of character is getting back up on our feet, and this movement has been knocked off its feet time and time again. So look, from what he's saying, he could run again. Because look, even getting 43% of the vote, he certainly made an impact, and I think we'll be seeing him again. This isn't the last of Tim Canova, and that's a good thing. Now, a lot of people might be wondering in this whole thing, where was Bernie Sanders? Where was his group? Right? Where was our revolution? Isn't that supposed to go out and help candidates? Well, it turns out that the organizational structure of this group had actually prohibited them from coordinating with Canova's campaign. Now, Claire Foran of The Atlantic wrote about this. She wrote, a number of staffers who resigned from our revolution in protest over how it's been run say the organization's 501c4 status made it impossible to coordinate strategy with the Canova campaign, leaving the campaign worse off as a result. And at least some of the departing staffers believe the organization should be set up under a different legal structure so that it can coordinate with candidates and endorsers in the future and do more to help them win. Why they didn't set up that Our Revolution group differently, I don't know. Now, there was that other thing where the staffers weren't happy about Jeff Weaver leading that campaign. Since, look, he's more old school, he campaigns differently, he focuses more on television, all the old school ways of running an election. And a lot of the staffers have said, no, that's not the way we do things anymore, Jeff. That's not the way we do things. We need to focus more on online and more grassroots, more activism, right? And change the structure away from a 501c4. Now, I disagree with the way that Jeff Weaver is running this. And actually, it would have been better if they had put someone else in charge of this group. Okay? And I certainly think that, as I said, they need to change that. They need to not be a 501c4. So they can actually help their candidates. I I don't know why I can't think of the word here. But it can coordinate. Yes, coordinate. That's what it needs to do with these candidates to help them win. That's what they need to do. But anyway, now to the other race. Yes, there's still more bad news. Representative Alan Grayson was also defeated by the establishment candidate Patrick Murphy. Now, this race, unlike the Canova race, was nowhere near close. Murphy, who was a former Republican who gave to the Mitt Romney campaign in 2012, ended up crushing everyone else that was running, getting 58.9% of the vote. Alan Grayson got about 17.7% of the vote. Ooh. The other challenger, Pam Keith, got about 15.4%, and the rest got about 5%. There were two others. Like Rocky De La Fuente or something. I don't. That name amuses me for some reason. But look, that's a slaughter. No one came even close. Ouch. Now, it has to be noted that Grayson's campaign had been mired in controversy for most of it. In fact, Politico writes that during the Senate campaign, Grayson was rocked by a House ethics investigation into his offshore hedge funds and a Politico report concerning allegations from his ex-wife that he physically abused her. Now, of course, he denied these charges. Grayson's new wife, Dina Grayson, who ran in a different race in Florida, because they wanted to be like this tag team of, hey, I'm your representative here, I'm a congressman over here, right? Well, she ran, she also got crushed. Ouch. Now, as far as Grayson's concerned, look, I like the guy's policies, right? But to me, something seemed a little bit off about him. And it's not like I don't like his style of taking people to the woodshed, taking the establishment to the woodshed. I love that. I'm in favor of that. I wish more politicians would do stuff like that, would rock the boat, right? Like, for example, what he said about healthcare, the Republican healthcare plan, get sick and die fast or die quickly, right? That was awesome. Right on the nose, okay? But still, I don't know. Something was off about him. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But if I were in Florida, I still would have voted for him over any establishment candidate, because at the end of the day, it's the policies that matter, and at least he was in favor of progressive policies and would actually fight for them. Still, at the end of the night, the establishment had a good night. The empire had succeeded, at least in this race. Now, I know a lot of people, upon hearing this, will naturally be upset. I hear you. But remember, we still have nearly 100 other progressives, just like Tim Canova, running in races all over the country that still need help. They still need help. They still need donations. They still need all sorts of things. Okay? Most importantly, they need votes. Okay? One of them, for example, is David Sparks in Ohio. Right? Yeah, I know David Sparks. I've met him before. I've talked to him before. He's a good guy. And he's a strong progressive running in Ohio right now. Then you have Zephyr Teachout. It's another great progressive. You've got an entire stable of wonderful progressives that are fighting the good fight. And look, let's be honest. Not all of them are going to win, right? But that's okay. That's politics, right? It's like Canova said. You're going to fall on your ass a few times. But you got to get back up and keep fighting. You know why? Because revolutions, political revolutions, they take time. So look, take heart. It is a long fight to get progressive values. But in the end, as long as you keep fighting, you don't give up, you will win. We will win. So the fellow progressives out there that might be bummed out from last night, we need to move on. Ever forward. Go. Hey everybody, if you liked this video, then please like this video and share. And if you want to see more like this, then please hit that subscribe button below.